Let's talk about Mack and his integration into the team. I mean, many teams around the league have made changes. NYSL made a change recently with Mack. He had a great first tournament. Here he is continuing that momentum. Take me back to when he joined the team. Like, as the head coach, what are some of the things that you're thinking about? How are you integrating Mack into the squad? What were the initial reactions? Take me into all of that.
Yeah, sure. So us as a management team, when we were looking for a player to fill in the fifth spot between our core four, we wanted to go after an up-and-coming player. We have a lot of veteran players on our team, guys who have been around the block. So we wanted to put somebody on the team that would kind of help the core four, almost like force them to come together, because that was a big problem for us earlier in the year, just getting these four together and playing and acting as a team. So when we were looking at guys out there, we were assessing the amateur scene, and Mack was a guy who was quick on our radar. The way these guys break into the scene is, they go to the Path to Pro tournaments, they perform well, and in Mack's case, he got second at the Minnesota launch weekend. So right away, his whole team was on our radar, and we were looking at him. Plus, there's a lot of word of mouth coming around from the scene. Former pro players who are now competing in the Path to Pro system, they're telling us, they're letting us know, like, wow, this guy has talent, he has potential, like, he's playing well. So we took all those things into consideration, and we felt like Mack was the one to go after, and now it's paying off for us in dividends. The guy's unreal. He has so much potential, and it seems like every day we play with him, he's learning something new. He's like a sponge. He's constantly absorbing information, and plus his gun skill is just out of this world. Like, every time he squares up in a 1v1 engagement, he has a high percent of winning.
You have a great mix of characters on your squad, and you also have a lot of experience on your squad. And then here comes Mack, who is making his pro debut, essentially, right? So what are some of your philosophies, and how did you approach coaching him in his first major gig like this?
Yeah, so one thing was just making sure that he stays calm and doesn't get ahead of the moment. And now that we're playing these events in an online format, he could play from, the comfort of his room, and there's definitely less pressure on him in that sense. And all of this experience is just going to make him better going deep in these tournaments, going deep in these matches. But it's just making sure that he felt comfortable. When he came in, everybody knew that, like, this was the guy that we were going to try to play champs with. We wanted to go the distance with Mack, and this was going to try to be our set five going forward from the year. So they wanted to make him feel at home. We wanted to make sure that he's coming into a welcoming environment, and we want to make sure that his voice felt heard as well. So we have the big thing with making sure that everybody can give their input on situations and team, and we just wanted to make Mack feel like he was at home with us. And I think we've done a really good job at getting him integrated within the team, and he seems to be meshing with us really well. I mean, he has a super trolly personality, which gets along with a lot of these other players. Every day with them is a good laugh. We're always joking around with each other, laughing, having a good time. So it's really been a good reset of our team vibe.
What was the initial reaction from the other players that Mack was coming in?
They were really excited to play with him. They knew that this guy had a lot of talent, and just the way the league is set up, it's hard to make trades, and it's not like the wild, wild west like it was in the past where, things weren't as structured and you could just really drop a player, pick a player up, drop a player, pick a player up. So they were really excited to play with him. They knew from talking to some of their amateur friends and past pro players that, he had potential and he was actually a good player. And now that they've actually started playing with him and seeing what he can do on the map and working with him on a day-to-day basis, they all love him. If you go back and watch our matches, they did a listen-in with us. I think it was against Minnesota on the gun runner domination, and they were just gassing him up, like feeding it to him. So, they really rally around Mack, and it's been great to see them come together around this player.